Hey, this is Scully Podcast. It's called Scully Sez, and I'm supposed to have my cohort Patrick here today, but as you can see, just me by myself, and so we're going to do the best we can. And so let's get right to it. We usually quiz Patrick on some things that are happening in uh, from the Wall Street Journal, but since he's not there, I guess I can't quiz him. All right, so here's this Scully's looking at the Knicks. I don't know if you know anything about the Knicks, but the Knicks, I think they had a dry spell for I think it's something like 53 years, but who's counting? Anyway, so there they are, and there was I'm almost tempted to root against the Knicks. I grew up in New York, so I kind of have a feeling about that. But you know that these idiots are going to use that as an excuse to rip the place apart. One of the things that they thought would be appropriate would be to burn a school bus down to the ground, you see. And of course, they probably had problems with school in the first place, so they probably didn't hold any good feelings about school. But so that's what we got with the Knicks. I mean, they can't let a good thing go. They go in there, and this is just an excuse to rip the place up. In fact, they ripped the place up the day before too, even before they even won the championship. And the excuse will fly, and so that's what happened. And it's a shame because it's millions of dollars in damages, but and of course, there's no way you can collect those. You probably have these nitwits that probably haven't had a job in a while, and people that are home. The guy that's out there working every day, he's going to be paying for it eventually through his taxes. But that's another story. All right, so but that's um, how about you see Mr. Musk, Mr. Musk. And SpaceX, you see, everything that Musk touches turns to gold. And a lot of people say he's a little bit goofy. He's got some strange ideas about him, and can't deny that. But so people are saying he's got too much money. He's a trillionaire, and what's he going to do with all that money? And blah blah blah. Well, I don't think he spent it on mansions or anything like that. I think he usually puts it back into other businesses, such as SpaceX. Now, I believe that there were 4,000 people that worked at SpaceX. Some of them were some of them were managers and janitors, kitchen workers. Some of them were engineers. Some were just basic support people. And they were standing there that day that Musk did what they call an IPO, which is a public offering. And they all immediately became millionaires. All of them, 4,000 in fell swoop, became millionaires. So when people ask what Musk is doing, that's one of the things he's doing. Now you've got 4,000 millionaires running out there, buying things, buying houses, buying cars, going on vacation, putting money back into the economy. So that's what's happening with the Musk employees. And of course, Musk is also doing things that nobody else has done. He's responsible for the cars that are driving around by themselves, the Teslas. He's doing that as well. Probably if he hadn't been involved, it probably wouldn't have been done. If it was done, it would have taken a long time. He's big on AI. He's been instrumental in that. And so, say what you want about the guy, but in uh, in my in my opinion, Mr. Musk is going to go down in generations from now as being one of the great thinkers in the country, next to people like Henry Ford, Edison, and so on. And so Musk is a great boon to our society, as far as I'm concerned. So that's what we got on that. Let's see. Uh, my Carmelo Anthony. There's a lot of stuff going on about for Carmelo. He stabbed that kid, killed him, and of course, people are up in arms because they're saying that Carmelo is being mistreated. And well, that's the way things are going these days. But it's in some respects, it's probably a good thing that Carmelo got himself convicted. No, you say, why? Why is that a good thing? Well, there's this outfit called Go Send Go, and his mama set it up, and so they were trying to get a little bit more than $1 million, but they only succeeded in getting something over 600,000. Don't you see? And right before they shut it down, that $600,000 gone. And well, it seems as though the family got it. Necessary expenses, don't you see? And so that's and poor Kamalo, he's appealing his conviction. He was unjustly convicted, and so he needs a what they call a pauper attorney. Needs a pauper attorney. Say, well, $600,000 in that fund. What? It's gone. It's all gone. Nobody knows exactly where it's at, but there was a proviso that the family could use it for moving expenses and relocation expenses, don't you see? So wherever it is gone. But now getting back to see, in some respects, it's the conviction. I get back to the idea of the conviction. Why would I say that the conviction might be a good thing? Well, let's assume the other way. That Kamala, you see, let's say that he was found not guilty. Found not guilty, and what they did is once he's found not guilty, he goes home. So he's home with his mom, and saying to his mom, "Hey, mom, uh, did you know that there's $600,000 in our fund right now? Uh, so I'm gonna go get some of that." And his mom said, "Well, oh, come on, there's none of that left." Well, see, Kamala's going on to say that knife that he used, that would, if he's an innocent man, you probably have to give that back to him, don't you see? So Kamala's telling to his mom that maybe it'd be a good idea for her to go get some of that money, don't you see? Because that's the kind of guy Kamala is. That's just me thinking, of course. So, but Kamala is he's in no danger. His mom's in no danger right now. He's going to be transported someplace else because they think that he may be in danger in the place that he's being held. So who knows? Anyway, that's the Carmelo Anthony story. But you could see in some respects why a guy like Carmelo would not be real happy with the way he was raised. People take the money that was actually intended to be for his benefit, and now he has no money, and he's being represented by a pauper attorney, and so that's what happens to that. So that's the Kamala story. Let's see what else we got. Social Security. They have recalculated when Social Security is going to be getting a low on funds. I believe at one time it was 2036, and it's now 2032. They're going to, the calculations are that they're going to run out of adequate funding. So the Congress is going to have to do something. It'd be political suicide for them not to do something. But unfortunately, usually what they do is they kick the can down the road. No sense in getting this thing done ahead of time. So instead of doing something, being proactive and doing something ahead of time, why not wait until the 2032 before we do something? And then we're kind of in a crisis situation. So that's what we got on that one. Okay. Talking about, I had to talk about one of my favorite characters. This is this guy, Jimmy Kimmel. You know, Jimmy. This guy is he's supposedly a comedian, but I don't know if any folks have looked at him recently, but he doesn't really have a happy face. He doesn't seem to be much of a comedian. He doesn't seem to be saying much that's funny, to tell you the truth. He has a show which is not doing all that well. He continues to lose readership, viewership, and that's been going on consistently for years now. So, so you might have guessed, but I have very little time for Mr. Kimmel. Don't like the guy. He takes his show and he uses it as a political tool, and so even people that agree with him, turn him off because it gets kind of tiresome after a while. You hear him one time, you hear him a second time, but after a couple of months, or you get tired of him, you turn him on something else. Even turn him on somebody you don't agree with. But he is continuing to lose. He's continuing to lose viewers. But the thing that kind of aggravated me to no account was, so he gets on there the other day. Here's a guy that is bleeding the station dry, getting paid more than he's worth, getting paid by a company, Disney, who's losing money on him every year, substantial amount of money every year. But they have to continue paying him because there are forces which would indicate that it'd be a bad idea for Disney to give him the boot. The same way as happened with Colbert. So that's not happening. But Jimmy the other day, I guess he got up and he started complaining about Musk, talking about Musk and calling Musk a fool and an idiot and a goofball and all sorts of things. But but this is coming from a guy who has never really had a business, has never employed anybody, has never contributed anything that I could think of, never contributed anything outside of getting a paycheck, never employed people, never done anything except get a job and get a paycheck at the end of the week. So that's Jimmy, and actually. Jimmy probably would do well if he had worked for Musk. He probably would make more money he's making right now. But he got up there and started ridiculing Musk and saying that Musk didn't do this and didn't do that. So, of course, he and he continues. He continues in spite of losing people. He continues on his same losing ways, and so that's Jimmy Kimmel. And so what else do we got here? You see that Mr. Cook is stepping down as the CEO of Apple. I think he's been there now for 15 years. And Steve Jobs says one of the smartest things he ever did was hire Cook. And that's probably true. Cook financially has made more money for Apple probably than even he did in the past. So even Steve Jobs didn't make as much money for Apple, I think, as Cook did. So Cook is something of a financial genius, and so he is stepping down after 15 years. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, and Iran. What's happening with Iran? I suppose the answer to that is we don't know. So we keep on hearing that we're getting closer and closer to some kind of resolution. But my thought is that the Iranians are going to back out of any deal that we have. So there was a fellow that I know that deals with the Iranians quite frequently, and he said that honesty, integrity is not virtues that are widely held in high esteem in that part of the country. So they will do whatever they can to back out of the deal, and all to all to our detriment. So they'll be back. And all right, so now I think we've done just about as much damage as we can do. We got rid of talking about the idiots in New York. We got rid of talking about Mr. Kimmel. Uh, maybe talk a little bit about that Trump thing. I don't know whether that. I never got the idea that beating somebody's head in was a good idea, but it seems like this martial arts thing is really very, very, very popular these days. And of course, there were thousands of people trying to get into that. I mean, they were just lined up for hours and hours trying to get into that for whatever reason. I don't know, but nonetheless, it was Trump's 80th birthday, and I guess he had to figure out that he had to celebrate it in some respects. Yeah, getting on to Trump and his 80th birthday. You know, there are these spokes out there, the Jimmy Kimmels and so on, that are saying that, we noticed that he was nodding off just recently. He closed his eyes. We noticed that he closed his eyes. He's really beginning to look his age. Which is complete crap, Mom. This is a guy who is 80 years old, but is doing very, very well for being 80 years of age. And what they say about him is, I have to believe it's true. I saw him the other day. He was taking questions. He was taking questions from reporters. And he spent an hour just sitting there talking to them and answering any questions that came his way. And a lot of times you'll see him not only argue with these reporters, but yell at them, talk back at them, pick his mic up and leave the scene, that type of thing. But he doesn't seem to be a guy who's feeble. But it aggravates me. It aggravates me that you have this guy. He's traveling all over the world. He's got all kinds of treaties going on. He's got all kinds of economic policies that are changing the country. He's got and he's absolutely has a lot of times a lot of things that he's doing. He's being roadblocked. Now, there are some things about Trump. Trump can be his own worst enemy. For example, putting his name on the Kennedy Center, that really was not a class move, in my opinion. And a number of other things that he'll do that doesn't make him look good. But you say what you want about the guy, say that he is a loudmouth, say that he's a bore, and a lot of these criticisms are justified. But to say that he is a guy that's he's starting to seem that he's senile or something, that is a load of crap. And the thing I don't like about it, which I think is very insincere, is the fact that we had a guy 4 years before who was almost comatose. I mean, and anybody said he was anything but. And so you'll hear that he was on the top of his game and he was doing the work of two people. It was quite common knowledge that the guy got to work at 10 o'clock in the morning, left at 2. And then he would take long vacations, spend a lot of time down at Rehoboth Beach. Had trouble fixing his beach chair in the proper position, was tripping all over the place, forgot what his train of thought was, and basically, bad enough he made himself look like a fool, but he also made the country look kind of foolish. Speaking about fools, um, we have to move on to Maine. It's only fitting that we move on to Maine. And there's a fellow there with the old Nazi sticker on his chest, which he has uh, blurted out, I suppose. But he said he had no idea what it meant. But I believe it was a symbol that was used in the concentration camps during the Second World War, but by the SS. But he said he had no idea. And the guy is a buffoon. But the thing that's kind of it's very disturbing. It's not so disturbing that this guy is a buffoon, which he is, but it's disturbing that the people have actually voted for him. So whether you like her or not, you have Susan Collins, who is considered to be, up until recent times by both sides, considered to be a very qualified senator, the senior senator from Maine. And her decisions are usually quite measured, and she's not to the extreme right or to the extreme left. She seems to be pretty middle of the road. Seems to be pretty commonsensical, and yet you have this guy who has absolutely no qualifications, none. And it's quite obvious he has no qualifications, and he doesn't profess to have any qualifications. He has a house which was purchased by his mother. He has some kind of oyster farm or some nonsense like that, which is also supplied to him by his mother. He tries to come across as a guy from the wrong side of town, but evidently he came from pretty good means, and but nonetheless, the guy has very little qualifications, and is running against a person which has extremely good qualifications, and there's a very good chance you're going to win, and that's a problem. I was looking at the statistics, and in I think it was 1968. Well, let's see now. It's 2026 right now. In 2020, she won with, I think it was something like 51% of the vote, 51% of the vote. And then the election before that, I believe that it was 68% of the vote. And then before that, I think 61% of the vote. But what it does show is with the passage of time, her elections are getting closer and closer. You would think that because she's doing a pretty admirable job that they would go just the opposite way, but that doesn't seem to be the case. The case seems to be that that these races are becoming more and more competitive, which is fine if you had somebody that had some decent qualifications that went up against her and beat her. But you have a guy with no qualifications, none whatsoever. Never held public office, knows nothing about public office, never really has had a job of any consequence, has never done anything of any consequence, has some very outlandish views about a number of things, seems to be more right wing than a right winger, but is running as a Democrat. And is running as a Democrat with right-wing views against the Republican, who, if anything, has some views that tend to go to the left. But so it's kind of disturbing. It's kind of disturbing that people are going to go into the voting booth and they're going to be pulling down a lever, which may very well end up with him winning the election, with no thought process going into the process other than the fact that he's got a D after his name, which he has, as far as what he espouses, are very, very far from what somebody on the left would ordinarily espouse. But there's a very good possibility that he's going to win the election, and that is going to not bode well for the country. Okay, so that's pretty much what we got. We got finished off with Trump, finished off with Jimmy Kimmel, finished off with finished off with just about everybody. And does Mr. Scully have anything good to say about anybody? Probably not. Probably not. Looking back at it, I would say no, nothing. But that's what you get. You see, when you get to be an old guy like Trump, you can say whatever the hell you want, and what are they gonna do to you? Yeah. So hopefully we don't have anybody picketing out in front of my house. But then again, that's nothing to be worried about. So I guess that's it for today. I can't bounce anything off Mr. Patrick. Mr. Patrick, my co-host, is off there in Italy right now, living the life, and he's left his poor old grandfather here behind this hot, the hot steam coming up off the computer is oppressive, but nonetheless, I'm getting on. And with that, having said that, I don't think I have anything else to say. No. Oh, yes, I think, no, I have nothing else to say. I thought I had something else to say, but after I thought about it, I had nothing else to say. And so with that, I'm going to say goodbye.